It is me, Gothfaerie, aka Courtney, Gothfaerie's Creations. Over here on all of the social media, I am here with a video that I filmed in the last year for Vlogmas that I ended up just not posting, and we're refilming it because I have more WIPs and it's a whole thing. So this is basically my WIP graveyard is what I'm gonna call it, because I have so many, because I don't know how to just like finish what I've started before I start the next thing. Some of these are really old, some are going to be frogged, some already have been frogged at the time of filming this because I filmed a few clips when I was sorting through some stuff, so there will be some outfit changes from when I filmed that before these clips, because I was in a yarn sorting mood and I needed to finish and just frog those things so that I can reclaim the yarn for something else. So those clips will be at some point in this video. But basically this is just a roundup of all of the 1,000,001 things that I have started that are finished but still need ends woven in, that are half done, that have like just been sitting here waiting for things to be sewn together. A whole collection of things basically, because I start too many projects. This is going to be focusing on crochet and knitting, so all of my yarn related work in progresses. So yeah, we're going to dive right in here. This video is going to be long. I'm going to apologize right now and say thank you if you decide to stick around and watch the chaos that is my I have too many things on the go all at once, because that's how my brain functions. And yeah, thank you for coming along for the ride, but we're going to go ahead and jump right in. We are up to the amigurumi portion of my WIP, so my works in progress. If I don't remember who the designer is while I'm filming, I will make sure that I pop it up here and in the description down below so that you guys can go find these things that I've started and not finished. I'm going to start off first with the ones that are right in front of me. So this is a little turtle that I have made the head and the bottom of the shell of. This is what the turtle will look like when it is finished. Obviously it'll be a little bit bigger because it is a thicker yarn, but that is the turtle. And then I have this little duckling that just needs to have his eye sewn on. And again, that's what it will look like, because these are from a pattern test. And then this is with the actual yarn. This is by Sarah D Crochet. It is the, using the little darling yarn, which was with Shapiers. It was a collaboration that they did of a whole bunch of little palettes. And this is the pond palette. So those need to be finished. Obviously that just needs sewing. This needs to finish making all of the bits. The next one, I don't remember the pattern name off the top of my head. The Crochet Giant Woven Pattern by Imagined Yarn. So I have made the body in black yarn. I have sewn on the mouth. It uses a linked, it doesn't use linked double crochet. And because I crochet so tight, it ends up with that. So it was all the way on the head as well, but I've just been sewing like underneath it, so I will do that there as well. But that is up to there. I have made the wings as well. So I've got the 2 wings, and then I've got 4 feet. What else is attached in here? Because even though it is a woven/woven pattern, I want to make it as a dragon, so I've got 4 of those, and then the ridge. I don't remember what that piece is for. It could be the last bit on the wings, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, it could be the last bit on the wings. I'm not sure. But that is sort of where we're up to on that, which is almost a year old now, because I started that in like June last year. So that has a bag that it is in, so I'll pop that off to the side. I would like a little basket full of my amigurumi projects. So these are more by the Sarah D Crochet from when I was pattern testing for her. This is from the Space palette. So I have the little spaceman, which just needs the embroidering done. I have the little spaceship, which has little, if I can find them, has these little circles that need to be embroidered on wherever it is that they go. Then I have the rocket ship, which has all of its bits and pieces, and like the wings and the window. So it's got like the little window and the little like wings at the feet and the fire and stuff. And then the next two are technically finished objects, but I'm just going to hold them up anyway because that's the rest of the space palette. So that is that bag. I'm just going to put all these pieces back in here. My current plan is to start doing my, like, I keep seeing it everywhere all over TikTok and things, like the Finish All Frog videos. So is to go through all of these now that I've shown them all to you and go through and finish them in a vlog style video. So this is the last from the Sarah D crochet, I think. If not, that is fine. And this is from the Under the Sea palette. And it is the Little Mermaid that has little Octo Buddy buns. So it's a space bun style. So one on each side. And that also needs finishing. Next is the mermaid that I crocheted for a pattern test for Crochet Me Zaddy. The only thing left to do is sew on the hair fully. I have started sewing it on, but I didn't have enough time when I was testing it, so I just pinned it on and called it a day to get photos and then never actually got around to finishing it, which is what a lot of these are. I did find another from Sarah D Crochet, the little seahorse that I need to finish, so we're going to pop that over there as well. So that was a mermaid by Crochet Me Zaddy. I have a mushroom house, which is my pattern. I have the finished one there, the little blue one over there, and a big one over there, and then that one over there, and then this one, which I think I was using for progress photos, which is why it never actually got finished, because it was like, here is where all the spots like a recommendation is. Again, just needs sewing. We'll get there eventually. I have this, which is a octopus, jellyfish, octojelly, whatever it is that WIP handmade called it. I don't know where mine is. It's over there. Let me grab it because that'll make it easier. You can tell that I totally planned this out. So this is what it will look like when it's finished. It is the giant jellyfish, whatever it is. I've forgotten what it is called. But it is by Weekly Handmade. Jelly Boy, I think is what it is. Maybe. I don't remember. But that's what it will look like when it is finished. But I have all of the pieces using the same rainbow yarn, but with black. So I've got all of the bits made, literally. Where did the base is in there so that I don't lose it. And then I have all of the tentacles. The only tentacles I haven't made are just the, like, chains, which I'll do once I've sewn it together. So that is another for the pile of things to be finished. This is the Octopus for a Promi program pattern. So it is not a pattern that you can like purchase or anything, but it's designed to be made for preemies, babies that are born premature. So I make them for all of my friends when they have babies. So I have this one that literally just needs to be stuffed, and then the last couple of sewing rows. I originally started making these because I wanted to make sure that my stitching was tight enough, which I think it is. So I have some cotton set aside to start making these in cotton to send off to the program to get checked to make sure that they are the right dimensions and all the rest of it. What is this? This is what I was working on during Vlogmas that I never actually finished sewing together, which is a pattern by Crows of Flow, and it is, I think it was Rainbow Lorikeet. Either way, I made it in blue, and I've got to make the eyes and then sew it all together. So that is another one to add to the pile of things that needs to be finished. This is a Groot pattern that I have like bits to sew on for like the extra detailing and then leaves to make and so on. I do not remember who the pattern is by, but I will tag them here and down below. I'll put a little pop up here if I remember. But I have that little Groot. I have, let me just pull it out. I have this little Winnie the Pooh that I made using Madeline Mako's Belly Bear patterns, which as far as I know are available. I think on her other Etsy, not her main Etsy. So I've got like all the pieces that I need to like sew on. I've got the ears and the nose, and then that's it, and it's done. So that will be another one that is a quick finish. Another one that I was working on during Vlogmas that I never actually got around to finishing. But it is a crocodile. It is massive. Absolutely massive. So the body is done. All the pieces are made except for the eyes, which I will do soon. So the eyes will go on there. But I have 4 legs. That's 2 that are together. Let me grab the other 2 over there. So 4 legs to sew onto the bottom of that at some point in the next couple of weeks. I will 100% be getting that done. So that is all the amigurumi. Inside of this, I have a rainbow pouch that I made years and years and years ago now, and a zip that I need to sew onto it. So I have obviously made the pouch, sewn the sides up, and then put it back to right side out. And then I just need to take this and sew it on the top. There isn't really like a pattern per se for this. I kind of just made it up as I went along. I made it as long as the zip like needed to be, and then just did it like, yeah, from one edge to the other. So I would have started, I'm just trying to look at the stitching. So yeah, I would have started here and done, what's that, 2 rows of each? Yeah, 2 rows of each colour. No, 3 rows of each colour. Yeah. And then the reverse on that side. So, and then sew it up. So that just needs a zip sewed on. That's all the amigurumi. I'm going to go and pack all of that back into its handy dandy little basket that I emptied from other projects, and go and find all of my blankets to show you those. Just in the middle of packing everything up, and I found 2 more WIPs that I need to finish. This one, which still needs the little teeth sewn on. It's got 2 teeth outside, it still needs teeth sewn on that side. And then this one, which has 2 legs, still needs sewing, which were just pinned and has been sitting on my shelf like that, so you couldn't see the pins. This pattern is by Droopy Zoo, and the crocodile is by Groot Pattern. So I will insert this clip in the end of the amigurumi portion before the rest of it. I was going to do blankets next, but I found all my knitting and there's not a lot of knitting stuff. So we're going to do that first, and then I'm going to go dig out all of my blankets because there's a lot. There's a lot of blankets. I have a problem. It's just, it is what it is. So the first knitting is in its own separate bag that I would have started during COVID in like 2020. And I have barely worked on it at all in a very, very long time. And it will no longer fit the child that it was originally supposed to be a jumper for. So it'll eventually just get turned into a wall hanging of some sort. But it's using colour work on knitting, on straight needles, using stockinette. So knit one side, purl the other row, and as much as it looks absolutely amazing in terms of for the finished project, it has been a pain in the ass to deal with. And there are a few mistakes in the grid, but I'm just trying to detangle it as much as I can so I can show you. So it will be a Thomas the Tank Engine. It was supposed to be a jumper. I think we're just going to go up to the end, do some ribbing, and then see if I can maybe put it in a frame so that I don't have to deal with the back. Is the current plan. So we went with this like dark green, which I don't even think you can get at Spotlight anymore. And some of the mistakes I think were here and in some of that bit. But either way, chaos. It is utter chaos. It is all tangled. And I think that's partially why I don't want to deal with it. And I don't want to deal with the mistakes and trying to line things up. So I think what we're going to have to do is try and like, each time I do one of these like finish a frog videos, we're going to have to like try and hold myself accountable and like do a couple of rows of this so that it eventually gets done, because I have all of the yarn and I need to finish it, even if I'm not going to turn it into a finished item of clothing, because I think it just doing it as a wall art will be better. So that is that knitting project, which has its own bag. And then this bag has 2 knitting projects in it. Both the same pattern. I don't remember where that pattern is from, but I will again go and figure out where I got it from and post it in the places. This one is the Flax by Tin Can Knits is what the pattern is for this one and the other one that I'm going to show you guys when I'm done untangling this. So it is a cute little jumper. So it has 1.5 sleeves. The body is done. The child that it was originally made for has almost guaranteed outgrown it. So it is what it is. But it is in Little Mermaid theme, so purple and green. That's just the mood that I was in. And yeah, it just, we'll get to it eventually, is the hope. And just detangle the yarn. And then the other one, again, still same pattern, the Tin Can Knits. We have this one, which is in Star Trek colours. So it just needs sleeves, but I can't start the sleeves on this because the needles are on the other one. So I need to finish the other one and then I can do the needles on this. And so these are in a little project bag, all kept together so that I can eventually get back to it. Let me see. I'm going to shove this back in and be back with blankets. I am back with all of my blankets. I had to go and find them from all the different places that I keep them in while I've been working on them. But first one, we'll start with this one that I've got at my feet. This is just a double crochet, half double crochet blanket that I've been working on for quite some time. It is quite repetitive, which is why I haven't gotten to it. It's quite a like quote unquote boring stitch. It's just, it doesn't change all that much, which is why I haven't worked on it all that much. But there we go. This is what it looks like. It is red, white and black, and I am being interrupted. Hi. As I was saying, red, black and white. It has double crochets, and I think I did a double crochet and then half double crochet into the back loop. You can kind of see there, it's got that raised edge, which was just to give it something interesting. So, massive blanket. I'm up to this section of white. I don't actually have a lot of black left in this bag. However, in my tower of yarn that I have next to me that you guys can't see, it's sort of over here, I do have this yarn brand sitting in a tub. And I'm like, fingers crossed I still have some black yarn in there. Otherwise, we're going to have to go play colour matching games at a shop. But it is in the Fiddlesticks Superb 8, which is not the greatest to work with. It's quite a slippery yarn, and it also is very easy to split when you're working with it with the way that I crochet. But first blanket project. All right, the next blanket project is one that is done? No. Needs a border. So, which is why the yarn is all still in this bag. Is that yarn attached or is that just loose? It is just loose. Maybe? No. Haha. There is still yarn attached. I wasn't losing my mind. Did I just stop mid-row or something? Or is that just unraveled over the time? Anyway, stop rambling. It is this one, which you guys can hopefully see. It is the 6-day kid blanket. This way up. It is in the baby size, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, with the viral stripe patterning by Bertie McNett, who I have some patterns with. So this one, this pattern we released with the bunny lovey that I have up there, and this yarn is the Marble 8 ply from Spotlight. So this was for a friend who's had a baby, who is, the baby's now a toddler, and it's just what it is. I just need to message them and see if they even still want this, or if I want to give it to someone else. But it needs to finish the edging, which I thought was done, and it needs a border, and then sew all the ends in. So I'll be back in a moment with the next one. Alright, the next one, this yarn is the Birch Creative Chunky Cake yarn, and this shade was Harley Quinn. I don't think you can even get this anymore. Like, even finding this was hard. They sold it at the reject store here in Australia, and I bought a whole bunch of it to make blankets for my partner's nieces and nephews. And then I saw this colorway and I was like, oh, that's really pretty. So I bought some to make a blanket that I just haven't done anything with or finished. So this is what the colorway looks like worked up. That's about how far I am. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 peaks of the 6-day kit blanket. And because it is self-strapping yarn, there aren't as many ends to weave in, which is nice. So that is one of the projects that I kind of just pick up randomly, like when I have Zoom calls for like crochet related things, or I'm just sitting and watching a movie and I need something to do with my hands. That is one of the blankets that I have slowly been working on for however long since I started that. Alright, the next one, we're just going to roll into the next one because it's just here and it's easy for me to grab. So this yarn is the Karen Tea Cakes, which is 100% I know something that has been discontinued. This yarn I got from the lovely Beth over at Betty McKnit, the previous pattern person, and pretty much every other blanket that I'm going to show you is a 6-day kit blanket of some description. She was very kind and sent me the like rainbow of tea cakes, so I was slowly working on this on Twitch, and then I didn't, and now my computer is not great for basically running anything at the moment, so I haven't really picked it back up, and I'll go back to it soon hopefully, because I'm hoping to get those parts replaced if I can figure out what's wrong with it, and get them replaced and sorted, and then I can go back to doing this one on stream. But it is a very chunky yarn, so it is quite a big blanket for only being, how many peaks is that? This side, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 peaks, and it is this wide. And I've just recently started on the second cake of yarn, so I had this sort of purpley greys and now we're going into purpley blues. I did go through when I was doing it and write numbers on the balls of yarn, so that way I know the order in which I will be using the cakes to make my life easier. And I was doing this with a 10mm hook, so hopefully soon over on Twitch, which again I will link below to all of my socials, that you guys can come and watch me continue crocheting on this blanket. So let me add that to that pile, and we'll grab this one because it's right here. And so this is the 6-day supernova blanket that I made in 2020. Because I know for a fact I made it in 2020 because it was for one of my friend's kids. I made 2 of these. I've given one to one friend and I haven't given this one to the other friend, and I will very soon because it is done. It just needs end sewing in, which is why it is in this WIP graveyard roundup video. Anyway, supernova. So on this one you have 7 large points and 7 small points. Can I hold it up in a way so you guys can see? So if we tuck that in on my glasses, then I can hold up so you can see you've got a large point, and then a small point. I'm trying really hard not to get lipstick on it. So it is in these beautiful pastel colours. So we've got the pastel green going into blue, purple, pink, yellow, and then cream around the outside. This just has ends that need sewing in. The edge is done. I did a reverse single crochet border. It literally just needs to sew the ends in. So I really need to put that somewhere where I can actually reach it easily without having to go through what I had to find all of these. So I could just sew the ends in and be done with it. Alright, what are we going to do next? This one? Let's do this one next. Back to the standard 6-day kit blanket. This is done. It just needs end sewing in. And even then, half of the ends on this are sewn in already because I did slowly work on it. This is in the knockoff, quote unquote, retro straps yarn that we can get in Australia. So that's upside down. Let's go this way. This is what it looks like. I know for a fact I worked on this during Vlogmas, so another Vlogmas project. where I was trying to get it finished and then didn't, and it is upside down. That's alright, but I really like how it looks. And then I did the white border with a reverse single crochet once I'd squared it off and just gone around the outside. Literally just has ends that need to be sewn in. Another one of those that can just, we'll get to it when we get to it, but we're going to try and get to a couple of these each week and see how we go. Next on the blankets list is another that I most definitely was working on during Vlogmas. Yeah, I just have one more row of the border to do, / 1.5 rows, because I don't remember if I finished the current. It's not attached to anything, so I may not have. I definitely finished the current round then. So we've got the dark purple, the grey, which there you go, the grey, and then the cream, and then I just have the light purple to go on the border, and then obviously all of the ends. So this is the top of the blanket. So again, blanket. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16 peaks, and this is also done in the Fiddlesticks Superb 8 yarn. So an 8 ply, and I use 6mm hook with it because my tension is tight and it is what it is. But let me just quickly pop that in its bag and I will be right back. Next blanket is another 6-day kid blanket. This was started during COVID in like 2021, 2022, I want to say, somewhere around there. One of the lockdowns that we had, it wasn't one of the initial ones. It was one of the shorter ones that we had where like I was at the yarn store when they announced that the lockdown was starting, and I was just like, I need a project. So I bought a bunch of yarn, and this is that yarn. So, surprise, surprise, here's another 6-day kid blanket. It is in this beautiful mustard and white colour. Now, I don't know how big I was planning on making it or anything. It got to the size that it is, and I stopped working on it for whatever reason. This is what it looks like. It is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 peak blanket. It is in the Fiddlesticks Superb 8, if I didn't already say that. And just in 2 colours, in white and mustard. But yeah, another 6-day kid blanket. Surprise, surprise, it's another 6-day kid blanket. I started this one before I decided during Vlogmas that I was like, I should not start any more projects, and I'd already started this one, so I was like, well, this one doesn't count because I'd already started. But I have been working on this one quite a bit. It was for a while my take around project because it was quite small. It is no longer small. It is now in a absolutely massive bag. But it is the minty green, blue and white blanket that I have been working on. So it is absolutely massive at this point. Really, really pretty. I'm really liking how the original striping pattern, where you do 4 rows in one colour, 2 rows in another, 4 rows, 2 rows, 4 rows, 2 rows, as you're going through the stripes. So, I don't remember how many peaks this one had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 peaks. So, this is in the Marvel 8 ply that I use for a lot of blankets. And was probably the second to last blanket that I started. The last blanket I started was for a crochet along that Hey It's Mel B over here on YouTube started on her Discord, which I will get to. We'll probably do that one next because I think that is the next one that I can reach. So let me grab that. Mel over at Hey It's Mel B did a little crochet along in March, maybe? February? Somewhere, I think it was February, where she was doing a 6-day star blanket crochet along, and I was like, hey, that's one of my favorite patterns. I'm gonna join. I had a bunch of scrap yarn left over from various blanket projects that I've done in the past, some that I've shown here, lots of different things. So I was like, I'm gonna make a scrappy star blanket. So I've been slowly working on that ever since. I did do a bunch of it, I think, up until this black yarn in the month of February, but I'm going to hold it up and we're going to go from the bottom all the way down so that you guys can see it in all of its scrappy glory. So when I was doing this one, I decided that I had a bunch of this variegated yarn that I don't like on the other rows. So I put it on all of the single crochet rows. So I decided that every single crochet row on this particular scrappy star was going to be one of my 1,000,001 variegated yarns. And then when I was going through organizing my office, once I'd gotten to this point, I started repeating some of the colors that we'd used in this part, and then I found more colors that I hadn't used at all on this blanket. So that is what we're using on the edge. It is close to being a decent size to use. I don't know if I'm going to try and sell it, try and auction it off, or sell it on eBay, or donate it to a rescue for them to do in a raffle. I have no idea what the plans are for this one. It has 1,000,001 ends. We're going to have to do I'm live streaming so that I don't scroll on TikTok for this one, I think, to finish sewing in the ends. So that is the scrappy star that is currently in progress. I'm not sure if this is from last year or the year before, but we had a crochet along that Ben and McNett and myself did over on TikTok a while ago for scrappy stars. So I have 2 scrappy 6-day star blankets. It is what it is. So when I was doing this one, I did the first couple of rounds as block colors and then the rest as individual. And I much preferred the way this looked. So when I did the next one, I did changing on every single row. But I still quite like how this turned out. I just preferred that. Now, I thought I was going to add more rows to this, but now that I'm looking at it, little old me already did a border. So this one is done. It just needs end sewing in. It has a reverse single crochet border. It is very pretty. I'm going to flick it around so that you don't have to see the 1,000,001 ends. I'm going to do the same that we did on the other one because this has quite a few rows that were multiple colors because I was running out of scraps. So that you can see it in all of its glory and all of the beautiful colors that it is. I will obviously take photos and post them everywhere and I do finish it. But that is that one. That is a scrappy star that needs the end sewing in because it is actually finished and I forgot that that was finished. And second to last, not last. My next pile is a pile of blankets. I just need end sewing in. They are finished. First one is this pink blanket. So this is in the 6-day kid blanket. It is in the baby blanket size, the viral strap variation. These colors match that bunny lovey, which is why I made this blanket. And the blue bunny lovey that's over there has a matching blue blanket on that shelf, and the bear bunny lovey that you can see in the background has a matching blanket just there as well. So as I was going through and doing the various loveys, which are all up on my Etsy if you are looking for some cute lovey patterns, I decided that for some of the photos I wanted matching like the baby blankets to go with it, so I made them and then never sewed the ends in. So this is the pink variation. It is 3 different pinks and a white. It is in the baby blanket size, so not very long, perfect size for wrapping a baby in, and has the lovely camel stitch border, which I really love because it has the texture on this side, so all of the rays, but on the back it's flat. So like what you have against you isn't textured. So this just has a bunch of ends that needs sewing in. Now that lovey is sewn on to that bunny. So I made another one so that I can do photos for it, which also needs the ends sewn in. So when I make other ones, I can then pin this on a little behind the scenes to take photos. They're not always attached. Sometimes they're just pinned and then hide the ends. So that has all of its ends. Then there is a yellow one that needs its ends sewn in. This had a baby blanket that it matched, which is why I made it. But that baby blanket was a gift to a friend. So this is also the Fiddlesticks Superb 8. The pink one is the Marvel 8-ply. I also have this, which is a Superstar. Yeah. So this is a 6-day Superstar blanket in like autumny fiery colors. I really like how this one turned out. It is also in the Fiddlesticks Superb 8. it needs its ends sewn in. It also needs a border. I haven't decided on a border. It'll probably just stay as is. And it has its matching lovey that also needs ends sewn in. So that is my bag of finished blankets and loveys that need to be sewn together together have the ends sewn in to make photos easier. I do hopefully plan on, if I can figure it out, have some more lovey patterns soon. But I have 3? Yes, there are 3. There is the bunny, which was the original one, the bear, which was the second one, and then the fairy, which is my most recent. And those are patterns by me in collaboration with Betty McNett. This is a very, very long video. I am so sorry, and thank you so much if you stayed all the way to the end. We've still got more to go. I think this is the last blanket. I don't want to say it is in case it's not, because I do need to check behind me, but I think it might be the last or close to the last. No surprise to anyone, it is another 6-day kid blanket. And again, no surprise to anyone who's for a friend who is having a kid. It is what it is. Some of these are for friends, some that I have that are international, and so shipping and all the rest of it. But this is the 6-day kid blanket in sort of like spacey colours. So that is pink. I promise you it is pink. It is a different shade to my lipstick. It is pink. My lipstick is red. You can kind of see the pink a bit better there. But this is using the Aussie confetti, where you end up with that lovely accent colour. Now, I am on the top end, which I think from memory is where I wanted to stop, because I started with the dark purple, and so I wanted to end with the dark purple so I can fill it in. And I'm pretty sure that's why I stopped, is because the filling in rows I don't have memorized, because you only do them at the end of each blanket, where the actual rows is the same repetition. So that is on close to the end, and then the border in these beautiful spacey colours. And that has more scrap yarn when I'm done. That's going to go into my scrap yarn pile to do all of the things with. So let me pop this away and then go through all of the bags, and I will be right back. There is one more blanket. It's not going to be a blanket anymore, purely because I struggled with this style of pattern for where it's a completely different row every single time, and I honestly started this so long ago now that my tension's going to be all off and all the rest of it. So it's another one of those where it's probably just going to get turned into a wall hanging or like a pillowcase cover or something. More than likely what I'll end up doing is getting some dowel or something and just hanging it and calling it a day, because it's really pretty, but I don't see myself actually finishing it besides finishing the row that I'm currently on. Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to go find the pattern again and see if I can if it's even worth trying to finish it, and then trying to figure out what size hook I was using and all the rest of it. So this was a crochet along, where you bought the crochet along kit from Shapier's Yarn, and then they released it in parts, and I was doing really well with keeping up to date with it, and then I just fell off the deep end. So it is this beautiful pattern, and every time I see it I'm like, oh, it's so pretty, maybe I should keep going. So it's got like little butterflies on it, it's got, where are they, like cute little bees on it. Like, it's just really, really, really pretty. But like, I stopped, and I really should either start back up on it. Let me know what you guys think, if I should try and finish it. I don't even remember who the designer is. I know I've got the patterns downloaded somewhere. I don't know. This is in the Gothfaerie doesn't know what to do with it pile, so it gets ignored. And that's just is what it is. So I am going to go and put all of those back, and then I'll be back with the last category, which is wearables. I have 3 wearable based projects currently on the go. There were 2 more, which I will insert the clip after this little spiel, that were, I mentioned in the beginning, were ones that I ended up frogging because I wasn't liking how it was lying. There is one more besides these 3, which I'm going to turn into something else, so I'll show you guys that at the end. This will be somewhere in the I have too many WIPs, this is all my WIPs to hold myself accountable video that I do plan on filming probably in the next week or 2. Just because I'm currently in the process of slowly going through the chaos that is this office. So apologies for the sudden outfit change wherever I decide to input this clip, be it at the end or wherever. But I have about half an hour of time to just chill and before I need to leave again. And these have just been sitting here as WIPs that I started that I either don't want to finish or I've decided that I want to use the yarn for something else. So this first one is this is Mandala Lion brand in the shade Mermaid. It is this very pretty blue shade and it is like mostly done. So it is the Wild Oleander hooded scarf by Wickedly Handmade. So I had gotten up to like the part of the hood, but the person that I was originally making this for is just not in my life anymore for reasons, and so I stopped working on it, and I would like to use this yarn to make something that will actually be used, so like a pretty blanket or something. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to frog it and I'm going to recake it as I go. So I'm probably going to frog just to this one and then reball that individually, but when I get to the where I introduced the new cake, I'm just going to cake it with my yarn wonder, and I will come back to show that yarn reclaimed that I can then use for a different project. And then this is also in the I'm going to reclaim it pile, mostly because I don't actually think I have enough yarn to make what I was originally going to make, and I also don't want to make it anymore. I don't even remember what pattern it was, but it was some granny square peplum top of some description that I was going to make. That's the front. I decided that I don't really like that style of top on me with just the granny square. Like, it's going to look quite boxy, and I already wear quite boxy clothes as it is, being a plus size human. So I want to make a different one. I want to turn this into the Valor vest, the Valor vest. I will put it there and tag it below. And so that way I've got a couple of them. I've got some acrylic yarn that I want to make into one of those. I've got some hand-dyed yarn that I want to make into one of those, which is just sitting here. And then I want to use this because I think that'll be fun. So I'm just going to frog it and recake it and deal with the chaos that is this yarn that's just lying there. So I will be back soon. The next clip you see of me also, I don't know what's casting that shadow. It might be, is it my camera? Yeah, it might be the camera I use for work. Let's not lean that far forward when I don't have my light set up. When you see me next, it'll be with these yarns caked up, hopefully. It is much later in the evening. I completely forgot to film when I was done, but I did finish frogging all of the things. So this is the blue yarn. It is frogged and ready to go. Probably going to make it into a blanket. I'll see how I go. And then this is one of the small balls, which I'm going to use to make a swatch for what I plan on making. And then, let's try and pick it up. This is the green and blue cotton. Also, there's my Powerade in the shot, don't mind me. But yeah, that was in my, I am frogging these because I'm never going to finish them. And that way I can repurpose the yarn for something more fun. So after those two that I just showed you that we frogged, and we have reclaimed the yarn to use for who knows what future project, but some future project, we're going to talk about the other three wearables that I have that are on the go at the moment. So the first one is this beautiful scarf, which I was pattern testing for a friend, Mercury over at Mermaid Crochet. I will tag them down below. This was their Advent Had Time pattern. So for all of those advents that we all buy with all that pretty yarn and we have no idea what to use it for, this project will fix that for you. So it is a beautiful repeating sort of chevron pattern, and it looks absolutely stunning in all the different colors. And this is where I'm up to so far. So I've just been slowly working on that for a while, and it probably will continue to be car crochet with Gothfaerie over on TikTok. That's what I call those little videos of me just crocheting in the car because I've gotten somewhere and I have time because I've gotten there early, or I've had to get there early because that's when my schedule was, and we sit and crochet. So that is that wearable project. It's got this cute little bunny bag that I absolutely love, which is also covered in bunny fur because their fur gets on everything. The next one is a cardigan that I originally was making a blanket with this yarn, but I decided that I wanted it to be a cardigan instead, and I wasn't that far into the blanket, so I just frogged it because you can. If you don't like something and you want to reclaim the yarn and make something fun. So this is just your standard hexagon cardigan using your granny stitches. So it is using the pastel acrylic yarn. So it obviously has 1,000,001 ends, but I've just done a 2-row colour repeat and I have both of the hexagons made. So I haven't actually like connected them or extended the sleeves or anything, but I have the base of the cardigans made. Now, this was the very first one I'm wearing, is the very first hexagon cardigan that I made, and I made the sleeves really, really wide because I mismeasured the thing I was using as reference. So I ended up having to do decreases. So I've got this like weird hanging bit. If I was to draw it over again, I'd do decreases on the top and the bottom so that this is more like in the middle. But I made these ones a little bit smaller in terms of where I join them, and then I'll just extend the arms longer. So that is this one. I obviously have this part and the other part of the hexagon done. I just need to join at the tops of the shoulders down, do the extension on the arms, do the extension on the back, and then a little bit down the bottom, and then decide if how I'm going to add pockets and add pockets to it. So that's that one. And the other one is another hexagon cardigan. That yarn was the Marble 8 ply from Spotlight. This one is done in the Karen Skinny Cakes, which is what I made this one with as well. So self-strapping makes it a lot easier, a lot less ends to deal with. So I've got that in another bag. Now, get the yarn out of the way. This one is a little bit further along than the other one is. Again, I did it that just a little bit smaller and just extended the arms a bit longer. So this one has had the tops done, and I do this following Passionate Goods, Passionate Kelsey over here on YouTube, Passionate Goods everywhere else, I think. I'm not sure which way around it is, but again, I will tag them below, following their video tutorial on this. So, seamed, joined, extended the arms. You can kind of see that this is where the hexagon part of the cardigan stopped, and then from there to there we extended it, and then I added ribbing because I really, really like the look of ribbing. And this has held up quite well. I finished this like during spring last year, so it's been through a whole winter of like almost daily wear, and it's heading into its second winter of almost daily wear. But this one has that bit, and then obviously I will just extend along the back and then extend down. So I have that side of the hexagon done, and I also have this side of the hexagon done. So I just need to extend the back panel on both of them and then join them, and then it is go time on extending the bottom, because this will probably end up being a nice long one like the one I'm currently wearing, just because I can, and then we'll go from there. So those are my current wearables on the go. I do have wearables that I want to make, which I will mention because the yarn is pretty. This yarn is from Obsession Yarns, and it is absolutely stunning and I love it. And I want to make a Vala vest, I think is how you say it, by Ed's Fight. I think I will tag everyone down below. Editing me will go through and figure out all the things that I've said and put it in the description. So I want to make a couple of those in cotton and hand-dyed yarn and all the rest of it. But I think that is everything. There is one more which I'm going to go grab quickly, and then that might be all of it. Maybe. We'll see. Turns out I have 2 more in the wearable, not 1 more. The first one is one I was talking about. I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do with them yet. It was going to be a top of some kind. I think it was like a granny square peplum. I don't remember. It was a while ago. But it is in this beautiful black and red pattern. Now, I could potentially frog this, but I don't really want to. But I was thinking of maybe turning it into like a cute little tote bag or something and lining it so it would be a smaller, more like horizontal, like duffel bag, tote bag situation. Because I could use both because I have 2 of them, but then that would be massive and I would need to make a really strong strap for that, because like I made this to fit me to like, that's to my shoulders, And I just don't really like how boxy it is for a bigger person as a plus size girly. I just wasn't vibing with it, and instead of frogging it, I'm going to turn it into a bag of some kind. I just don't know how I'm going to do that yet. I could do an absolutely massive tote bag, which I would 100% need to line with fabric, or I could turn it into 2 smaller ones, which is I think what I might do, and just turn it into 2 smaller ones. I don't know. Give me your suggestions down below what I should do with it. I have absolutely no idea what I could turn it into a bag like that, maybe, where you fold it. I don't really know, but I have 2 of them. Let me know down below if you have any ideas on what I can do with these, because I don't know. They're kind of just sitting here taking up space. A bag would be useful. I'll do some research. I'll come back to you once we have decided either it's collective or I've made up my mind. But that is the one that I was remembering. The one I didn't remember is a hat. Last but certainly not least, in this pile of chaos that is Gothfaerie has too many works in progresses, is a mushroom hat. So, all of the components are made. They just need to be sewn together. I wonder if it'll go on over. It does. Haha, it does go on over my headscarf. So, it's a cute little, like, short mushroom hat with the little frills on it. Again, I do not remember who it is by, but I made it as a prototype for a potential commission, because when I'm doing commissions, especially bulk order commissions, which is what this was potentially going to be, I will make one of them to see how long it roughly takes, how much of the material I need, and then I can use that to help me get like a rough estimate of a cost, and also help me work out the pattern, work out the kinks in the pattern, get the sizing correct. I had to frog it and do it again to get the sizing correct, even though I had checked the gauge and all the rest of it. And then the only thing I have left to do is sew on all the spots. So there's big spots and small spots. So big spots and small spots to be sewn on. So I need to do that. Maybe I do that soon. I have a comic convention, Supernova, here in Perth that I'm going to soon. Maybe we could do a mushroom cosplay. Wear a cute little mushroom hat, put mushroom makeup on. That would be cute. Like, do the blush, because I have a naturally red face anyway, so maybe we'll do that, because I have some cute mushroom earrings that I made. Should we do that? Let me know. But that is the end of Gothfaerie Has Too Many WIPs. This is a very, very long video, so thank you a million times if you stayed all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. I did this mostly because I saw my friend Mel over at Hey It's Mel B show hers, and she's like, oh my god, I have so many WIPs, and I'm like, no you don't. You really don't. And I've added to mine since I originally was going to film this back during Vlogmas. That is all of the crochet and knitting WIPs. I have cross stitch WIPs, and I also have polymer clay WIPs and works in progress and things. Let me know if you want to see that. The cross stitch isn't as bad. Polymer clay is kind of chaotic because I have like bits with the polymer clay that's finished but not had like the findings put on. And I'm also waiting for, in terms of crochet, for a granny square like card book to show up, because I have a bunch of yarn that I want to use down so I can replace it with a different brand of yarn, and also just use down some of the yarn stash that I have, because I went through a phase of buying like one of every single ball of yarn, and I didn't need to do that to have every single colour. Like, I could have just not done it that way. So it is a granny square card thing, so my plan is to do like a randomly generated colour scheme for each of them. So that will be coming soon, hopefully. But that was my WIP video. Again, thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end of this who knows how long video, because I filmed it in clips. I really appreciate it. This is me and my chaos, and this is how we're going to run the channel. I'm not going to promise to upload a certain amount of videos. We're just going to do our best because life happens, and I have a part-time job that is my full-time work. but it is part-time hours, but also chronically ill girly, so like life happens. But I will be back soon with a Finish Off Frog, which will most likely just be a finish video, but we're gonna call it Finish Off Frog because it sounds fun. And we're just gonna start working through some of these WIPs. But yeah, I'm rambling, so thanks so much for watching. If you did come all the way to the end and you liked it, leave a like, subscribe if you were new, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Thank you so much. Goodbye.